The first time thing. This is my first time creating, producing, and hosting a show. This is also 8 countries' first time qualifying for the World Cup. Let's hope this show goes better than their likely results. In all seriousness, we are welcoming Haiti, Republic of Ireland, Morocco, Panama, Philippines, Portugal, Vietnam, and Zambia to the World Cup. And we couldn't be more proud to celebrate them as they take on the World Cup for the first time. One team in particular I'll be keeping my eye out for is Zambia, who just thrillingly upset world number 2 Germany in the last preparation game going into the tournament. The missing player thing. No, we aren't literally talking about a missing player, but rather a whole group of them. Unfortunately, we won't be able to witness some of the best and most entertaining players in the world due to injuries, and more specifically, ACL injuries. I've seen firsthand just how devastating it can be to have a World Cup dream deferred by an ACL tear. And this past year, the world's best have been plagued by them. Some players have made it back in time, like an Alexia Putellas, but we will still be missing the likes of a Beth Mead, Leah Williamson, Viv Miedema, Marie Antoinette Catoto, Delphine Cascarino. These are some big time players for their teams, plus many more. For the U.S., we're missing Kat Macario and our very own Kristen Press. And now that I think about it, most of these players are my friends, which is a little weird, maybe some bad juju there. The not so obvious thing. One of the best teams in the world is going to win the World Cup. I know, crazy. Contrary to popular belief, this is not a tournament of fairy tales. There is no March Madness. This is not Leicester City. This is a tournament of history and power. The top 6 most invested in, the top 6 ranked teams going into the tournament are USA, Germany, Sweden, England, France, and Spain. In my opinion, one of them will win it. The sellout thing. The news was that Australia's opening game was moved from Sydney Football Stadium that holds 45,000 people to Australia Stadium that holds 83,500 people. That's a lot bigger. And then they sold it out. But the news should have been, why in the world are we continuing to underestimate women's sports? Maybe the organizing committee hasn't been following the market trends, as we're selling out the biggest stadiums in the world week in and week out. This is not an issue about the popularity of the women's game, but perhaps rather the management of it. And last time I checked, there were mostly suits in those rooms and men in those suits. The questionable thing. Which US players are nursing injuries going into the first game? Of course, Vlatko has assured us all of his players are good to go. But the send-off game certainly didn't give us fans much confidence. Question marks certainly remain on Rose Lavelle, Kelly O'Hara, Megan Rapinoe, Alex Morgan, and Julie Ertz. Everybody's concerned about whether or not these players will be on the pitch or for even how long. But I'm thinking, how do these players feel? Because I know how it feels. I went into the Tokyo Olympics as questionable and from the outside was tasked to play a major role. And all I can say is you can't buy the value of preparation. How long does it take for a player to find World Cup caliber form coming back from an injury? We're about to find out. The fight for your value thing. In 2019, you all know that the US women's national team played for a lot more than the trophy. With every goal, with every game, we played to win respect, pay equity, and for the future of our sport. Now we are seeing the effects ripple throughout the globe as teams bravely speak out about the injustices they are experiencing and carry the fight
Worked up about thing. Everybody's worked up about the fact that the US women's national team didn't score 50 goals. Look, they got the job done. They scored 3 goals. In my opinion, the media is going to say, oh, they didn't score goals. Oh, it's not like the Thailand game. Oh, this, oh, that. But if you're in the locker room with the US women's national team right now, they're saying, thank you, next. The threads thing. So I don't know if it's the middle of the night or the fact that I'm watching these games by myself, but I've found that I've taken to threads. And one thread that became quite controversial was a comment I made about Canada. Look, I don't love Canada or hate them. The fact is, they played in the Olympics and they didn't score a legitimate non-penalty goal in either the semifinal or the final. Those are just the facts. The little big things. Look, Alex Morgan, she doesn't miss a lot of penalty kicks. She missed a penalty kick. It wasn't a great penalty kick. But what I saw, which I think is the big thing, who was first to that ball after she missed? It was 2 Vietnamese players. Where were we? We train things like that. That's a mentality. That's a focus.
There's no reason why the U.S. women's national team shouldn't have been first to that second ball. The algorithm thing. I'm not a social media person, but I do love my Instagram Explorer page. It's filled with things like architecture and art and these beautiful pictures of waves. And now hosting this World Cup show, my Instagram is flooded with soccer and gays. I kind of like it. The biggest winner thing. Look, the results have been the results, but for me, the biggest winners in the tournament so far have been New Zealand, Vietnam, the Nigerian goalkeeper, Haiti, and my favorite, Sophia Smith. The so many dudes thing. I'm watching the World Cup for the first time in a while, and I'm shocked by how many dudes are in the broadcast. Oh, now men want to talk about women? How convenient. The 2-1 thing. On our previous episode, I predicted that the US would beat the Netherlands 2-1. And I would have been right if it wasn't for Lieke Martin's head. The Tobin thing. So, some of you were introduced recently to Tobin. I'm a Gemini. Tobin is my alter ego. I love Tobin and Tobin. But if Tobin shows up, run for your life. The bold prediction thing. So at this point, we've seen every single team play. And just based on each team's first performance, if I had to make a bold prediction who would win the World Cup, I would say Germany. The Messi thing. I love Messi. I'm happy he's here, but competing with American soccer coverage during the World Cup, when this is our biggest moment, stay on vacation for a few more weeks. The Brazil thing. Everyone knows I love Brazilian football, and we're seeing it at its best. We're seeing the flair. We're seeing the special players. I love Caroline. I love Marta. I love watching this fluid attack. And I also love their warm-up tops. Where can I get one? The American thing. For us U.S. Women's National Team fans, we can all say our prayers to the soccer gods tonight for Lindsey Horan's head and Julie Ertz's last-ditch tackle. But first, thank you. Tobin's top things. The post thing. At the end of the U.S. vs. Portugal match, a ball ricocheted off the post and held the hopes of two nations in the balance. This is the World Cup. The white shorts thing. There was news going into this tournament about Nike's acknowledgement that women have periods. And because of that, there was a move towards getting rid of white shorts. Really great. But then I was a little confused because Brazil took the field in white shorts. So then I thought, well, research does show that women's cycles sink. So maybe they synced. And it wasn't a problem. The Canada thing. The FIFA president thing. Rumor has it that Gianni Infantino, he left the World Cup a week into it. Can you imagine if he left the Men's World Cup a week into it? He would never. The Ramirez thing. Everybody watched that Colombia game and thought, wow, Linda Caicedo. And I did too. That goal was spectacular. But really, the star was Mayra Tatiana Ramirez. She was fantastic. Bravo. The Lynn Williams thing. So Lynn Williams started yesterday. It's great to know that Vlatko's a fan of the show. The two-timer thing. Alex, Julie, Kelly, Pino, Alyssa. You all made us believe in a three-peat. Thank you. The first thing. This is the first World Cup where a player wore hijab. Nuhaila Benzina from Morocco. This is also the first World Cup featuring an openly trans player, Quinn from Canada. This game is for everyone. The Bon Mati thing. Bon Mati in the box? Chef's kiss. The Alyssa Nair thing. Saved a penalty, made a penalty, put the US in a position to win. That's my MVP. The investment thing. Everyone's talking about how greater investment in the game is making teams more competitive. Jamaica had to start a GoFundMe in order to get to this World Cup. They'd like to have a word. The where are the gays thing. To our knowledge, the U.S. Women's National Team haven't started a gay player all tournament. Where have all the gay girls gone now? The millimeter thing. It may seem like we lost this game by a millimeter, but we lost this tournament by a mile. The one sure thing. This World Cup has been full of surprises, but one thing's for sure, a first-time champion will be crowned. The prediction thing. In one of the most unpredictable World Cups, I predicted the Japan-Sweden score. Who could have predicted that? Well, me. The vacation thing. Everyone is wondering what island the eliminated players go to post-World Cup. Well, ours go to the tropical, exhausting island of the NWSL. The TikTok thing. A user on TikTok, Jackie J, really liked my "Where Are the Gays" video and backed it up with some pretty cold facts. Jackie J, I liked your video too. The Miyazawa thing. If Japan's star player, number 7, Miyazawa, isn't a household name already, she will be, and she should be. The Taylor Swift thing. So I've thought about this a lot. Not only did the US women's national team miss out on their 3rd consecutive World Cup, but maybe even more importantly, they missed out on going on stage with Taylor Swift on the Eras Tour. It's a cruel summer.
The foreign coach thing. Amazingly, in the history of both the men's and women's World Cup, the winning teams have always been coached by a citizen of that country. If Serena and England win the World Cup, history will be made. The final 10 minutes thing. Let's face it, most of us should have just woken up for the last 10 minutes of the Spain-Sweden match. And wow, what a last 10 minutes it was. Unfortunately for Kristen, she stayed up for the first 80 minutes of it. The Sam Kerr goal thing. So Sam Kerr had to wait a little while to get her first goal of this tournament. And wow, was it a golazo in a semifinal in front of 75,000 of her home crowd. And still, it wasn't enough. It's a cruel summer. The Salma thing. For Spain's Salma Paralluelo, she will be playing in her 3rd consecutive World Cup final. She played in the U17 final, the U20 final, and now the senior team final. She's only 19 years old. Winning is a habit. The 50 subs thing. No, I'm not talking about substitutes, but rather subscribers. I put out there that if we got to 50,000 YouTube subscribers, we would do a bonus episode. Come on, fam, let's go. The sad thing. When you win a World Cup, you get given this badge to wear on your jersey for the next 4 years that says, "We won a World Cup." For the last 8 years, the US women's national team has worn this badge. And for the first time in 8 years, someone else will get to wear it. It's a sad thing.
The Spain thing. The Spanish players had every reason not to play for their coach or their federation, but they played for one another, and now they're champions. Brava. The sleep thing. Watching the World Cup over the past month has been incredible, but now that the midnight and 2 a.m. games are over, I think I'm gonna sleep until the Olympics. Let's hope that the US women's national team doesn't sleep until the Olympics too. The step up thing. An FA chief executive made the totally awesome remark that a coaching move from England's women's national team to England's men's national team is not necessarily a step up. And I agree. However, Serena made 400,000 euros this year to Gareth Southgate's 5 million. So it may not be a step up in skill, but that's a giant leap in terms of salary. The anti-bias thing. Emma Hayes shared during the FIFA conference that male coaches at Chelsea are required to complete 6 weeks of anti-bias training. 6 weeks! Get that training in, fellas.
The Tobin thing. I know these are Tobin's top things, but I just wanted to pop in and say how proud I am of her for helping make this show and this segment what it is. That's my top thing.
The Infantino thing. FIFA president Gianni Infantino said that women have the power to convince us men what we have to do and to push the door open for equality. And as someone who has been a part of that movement to push against that locked door, let me just say, that is gaslighting and that is the patriarchy. The recap show thing. When Kristen and I decided to make this show, we never imagined you would all support it as much as you do. So on behalf of both of us, thank you.